All right, welcome everybody. My name is Danny Romero. I'm with ABC7. I do the weather there, also a few other fun projects over the course of the year. And today, though, I'm really happy to be part of this really fun project. This is Community Connections. It's a 4-part weekly town hall series designed to educate you and give you immediate access through leaders and all things lung health and clean air associated. So here's why we're here today. Today, through the American Lung Association and their report, Delivering Clean Air, Health Benefits of Zero Emission Trucks and Electricity. And now we know that a widespread transition to zero emission heavy duty vehicles and electricity would improve health broadly and especially in communities near major trucking routes around the US. EPA has found that 72 million Americans live near heavy trucking corridors, and they are more likely to be people of color and have lower incomes. So you know this is a major concern. Now, also shown in this report, switching to zero emission trucks and electricity would result in up to 66,800 avoided deaths and 735 billion, with a B, billion in public health benefits in communities near those major trucking routes across the US over the next 30 years. So it also projects that the nation's electric grid will be powered by clean, non-combustion renewable energy, replacing fossil fuels, and all that in a short period of time by 2035. And we brought together a great panel of industry leaders to discuss what is happening now, what to expect moving forward, and how we can best prepare for ourselves and our families. And really, it's a great group we have here for you today. So enjoy the words of wisdom coming from our folks here. First up, we have Chief Fields of the Los Angeles City Fire Department. We also have Ben Porritt of Brightline. We also have Shant Nahapetian of Southern California Edison and Patricia Kwon of South Coast AQMD. So kicking things off with us, our Deputy Chief Fields, Chief Richard Fields, has been with the Los Angeles City Fire Department for nearly 30 years and is promoted through the ranks of Captain 1, Captain 2, Battalion Chief, and Assistant Chief. Now, for the last 12 years, as an officer, Chief Fields has successfully developed and executed elements of the strategic plan by leading key projects and initiatives, such as the department's Learning Management System, Unmarried Aerial System Program, Unmanned Aerial System Program, and Rosenbauer Electric Fire Engine. Now that sounds exciting. Chief Fields has received a master's degree in Homeland Security and Defense from the Naval Postgraduate School. Is that one up in Monterey Bay, by the way? I'll have to ask him about that. And holds a bachelor's degree in Organizational Leadership and Emergency Services Management. Now, he is not only a graduate of the LAFD Leadership Academy, but also serves as a facilitator for the program, an advocate of personal and professional development. His leadership and mentoring efforts are dedicated to the equity, diversity, and inclusion of all members in advancing the future leaders of this department. Here he is, Deputy Chief Richard Fields. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. I owe you a lot. I think I have to let you introduce me more often.
Hey, it's real good stuff right there, Chief.
Real pleasure to join the panel and to talk about the innovation, especially listen to the numbers that you mentioned in the intro. To be able to do whatever we can to have an impact. We are public safety providers. And we look at that as, typically, sending, fire trucks and ambulances out to help people. But if we can have an impact in other ways, then we certainly want to be on the forefront of doing that. And so, this electric engine is a great example of us, first of all, being leaders in the fire service as we are, being innovators, not being afraid to embrace technology. But what a great way to highlight that. So just going to share a couple of things with the group here, just to highlight some of the things that we're doing, and hope you enjoy it. So we started off in about 2018 or 19 with the idea, the concept of an electric fire engine. Rosenbauer is a well-known manufacturer of fire apparatus, and primarily, if you guys are ever in the airport, you see these large vehicles that would respond to airplane emergencies or fires. A lot of those are manufactured by Rosenbauer. So not a new company, And obviously the fire department, Los Angeles City Fire Department, has been around for well over 100 years. So we're not new to the fire biz. But this idea, electrifying a fire apparatus platform, is new. In fact, LA City Fire Department has the first all-electric fire engine in all of North America. And ours is the third one in the entire world. So it's very groundbreaking from every perspective. But we saw an opportunity not only to support the city's green initiative, but again, to be leaders in the fire service. And what better way to do that than to join a collaboration like this and embrace technology. I'm going to share a couple points with you, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
That's a fine looking apparatus, Chief.
So, as you can see from the first slide, this is truly a collaboration. Some of the pictures that you saw of our compartments and the equipment that we carry, one of the things that we wanted to do, even though we were taking the leap into new technology, wanted to still have the feel and still being operationally ready. So the way that this apparatus is set up, even though it's configured quite differently, is really no different than our traditional fire trucks. Our fire hose is basically in the same location. Tools and equipment are in the same location that they would be on a traditional fire truck. The interesting thing, with being able to remove a traditional drivetrain, now the inside of that cab, you can walk in that door and stand up inside. Everyone in the cab can turn and face each other so that we can, talk and communicate. Without the noise of a diesel engine, you don't even need headsets, that we normally use for ear protection, and then microphones so that we can communicate back and forth. We don't have to do that anymore, just because of not having the noise pollution of a normal combustion engine. It's powered by 2 electric motors, which gives us the same power and thrust that we would expect in a normal combustion engine, fire engine. And then the efficiency in which the fire pump works allows for it to be able to pump the similar volume and the amount of water that a traditional fire engine has. By weight, it's much lighter, and we have it assigned to a fire station in just east of Hollywood proper, but the very challenging district. It's narrow streets, a lot of small streets, a lot of construction. And because this vehicle is much more narrow than your traditional fire truck, and it actually features 4-wheel steering, makes it much more nimble in those small environments. It has other features that allow it to pump while it's moving, feature that as we've never had on our traditional fire apparatus. Could go on and on about all of the features, but again, given our topic about clean air, it is able to do everything that our traditional fire engines do without the pollution. If you're looking at the last slide that I present, you could probably see up near the top, there's a small exhaust port. It does have an onboard small motor that only powers or recharges the batteries. It's not part of the drive system. So as the vehicle is driving, there's never any pollution or combustion going on. So as it drives and continues to respond, it's a very busy area of the city. the time that we've had it in service, we've had well over 1,600 calls for service, so a significant number of responses. Its energy efficiency, where about 80 to 90% of the time it's operating purely on the batteries. So we don't have to worry about a lot of charging time, downtime in the fire station. And obviously, as it's operating, almost zero emissions ever because it's powered by electricity. Truly some great innovation. We're looking toward the future for other opportunities in this, but it's a work in progress. But it has really shown the light on the bright future that electrifying vehicles can have, particularly in the fire service. And as part of the city and as leaders in the fire service, we want to be part of the move to see a greener city, a healthier city, and not only responding to emergencies, but doing our part by looking at new technology that helps us way is something that we want to be a part of. Back to you, Danny.
All right. No, thank you, Chief. No, that is, that really is exciting to see. The idea that, first of all, that's a great looking piece of equipment there, certainly, and just the description of it, it has that real kind of, as we kind of that step forward, that modern feel that we want to have, and of course, all being clean air, clean energy is just great, and the fact that this is they're saying the third in the world, third in the country. That's
third in the world.
So,
yeah,
I like you having us at the front of this thing. It's great, Chief Field. So again, thank you for that presentation. Really appreciate that a lot. And we'll have some more questions for you down the road here. Next up, though, we're going to hear from Ben Porritt. Now, Ben has more than 2 decades of experience spanning across media, finance, and politics, and is currently the Senior Vice President of Corporate Affairs for Brightline. Now, as a member of Brightline's executive team, Porritt oversees government and public affairs, corporate responsibility, and community outreach. Mr. Porritt also leads and is a key contributor to local and federal outreach and has been involved in securing support for private activity bonds, grants, and other initiatives to expand and enhance Brightline's operations. Mr. Porritt began his career in politics, leading communications and political campaigns for notable elected officials and presidential candidates. Ben received his bachelor's degree from Bradley University and his master's in business administration from the University of Southern California. Ben, welcome.
Thanks, Danny. I appreciate it. Good to see you. Appreciate you leading this, and certainly want to give thanks to the American Lung Association. This is a great event, great topic. I'm glad to be a part of it. Glad people thought of Brightline. Let me introduce you guys, to Brightline West. If you have heard of it, I'll give you a quick update. And if you haven't heard of it, let me introduce you to what we're doing. And I'll take you to the next slide. So Brightline is a private passenger rail system company. We're headquartered both in Las Vegas and in Miami. And our goal is to bring modern, eco-friendly passenger rail to America. We're doing that today. We're not just talking about it. We have built a system in the state of Florida that will connect Miami to Orlando. It's partially operational today. We operate on about 70 miles from Miami all the way to West Palm Beach, which cuts your travel time in half if you were to be driving. And by mid 2023, we will finish our construction all the way to Orlando, which will create a 265-mile corridor, which will be the first one in this country, first privately funded passenger system in this country in more than a century. Now, we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it much closer to everybody in this audience, which is Brightline West. It's our first project outside of the state of Florida. We'll connect Las Vegas and Southern California with a 218-mile fully electric zero emission train that will connect those regions in just about 2 hours. As a company, our goal is not only to bring modern eco-friendly transit options and transit solutions, but to connect city pairs that are too short to fly and too far to drive. Now, if you go to the next slide, the number one question that I always get from people is, well, this is great, but how are you going to get people out of their car? People are addicted to their car. It's true, but I think that all of us are looking for alternative ways to beat traffic and to stop, sitting in congested traffic, especially between Vegas and Southern California. If you go to Las Vegas from Southern California on a holiday weekend, it's going to take you anywhere between 4, 8, or 10 hours. We saw back in Thanksgiving 18-mile backups between these two cities And we know that 50 million people are traveling between these two cities every year. And I guarantee it, if they step foot on one of our trains, they're never going to get back in their car again. One of the things that we've tried to do is take everything that you're familiar with, that people are familiar with train travel, and flip it on its head. So most things are gray and dreary. The stations rarely smell good. We've totally flipped that. And we're building a system that's bright, it's full of energy, and it provides an experience that our customers find equally satisfying or more satisfying than the brands that you see on this slide here. Ritz-Carlton, JetBlue, Amazon, Apple, Netflix. We have higher net promoter scores and net customer scores with the system that we're running in Florida than some of those brands do. And it's just a pleasant experience. I ride the train just about every single day. When you step on it, it's incredible. And so we've done that in Florida. We know that you got to get people out of their cars. And in order to do that, you got to change the experience and you got to step your game up. And that's what we've done. Also, the stations that we're building, both here in Florida and the ones that you'll see in Southern California, are designed to not only provide access to more jobs and economic opportunity, but also to reinvigorate and re-energize neighborhoods through transit-oriented development. So not only are we just going to build a standalone station, it's going to connect to all other forms of transportation, which I'll show you in the next slide. So this is what our system looks like. You'll see the map from Las Vegas to Rancho Cucamonga, where our Southern California station will be. But the reason that we've selected Rancho Cucamonga is that we have a partnership with Metrolink. We'll share a station footprint with Metrolink so that anybody coming in from Las Vegas will be able to hit the ground in Rancho Cucamonga, jump on a Metrolink station, and get to anywhere within the Southern California region, including downtown Los Angeles. We have stations in the Southern California area in Apple Valley, in Hesperia, which will just provide a morning and evening local service, and then Rancho. We'll get from Rancho to Las Vegas in just about 2 hours. It's 218 miles, which meets that sweet spot of too short to fly and too far to drive. Like I said earlier, there's 50 million trips. We're looking to capture 10 million of them, which will eliminate 3 million cars every year from our roadways and also displace a number of flights, which we all recognize are bad for the environment and bad for emissions. In addition, one of our business mindsets, and certainly our business thesis, is to build within existing transportation corridors. This system with Brightline West will be built primarily down the middle of the I-15 highway, which is already there. It's already environmentally impacted. It's easier to build. And so those roadways have been there for decades, and we're just going to use the center aisle of it in order to build a train there. So we'll be making this trip. If you go to the next slide, I'll kind of catch you up on what it looks like. And in Rancho Cucamonga, you'll see the California station site there. We'll share a site with California Metro. If you look, you'll see our train on the upper platform. You'll see the Metrolink train, if you squint, on the bottom platform. And then you'll see a very simple station design that allows for hundreds of parking stations. On the left, you'll see the map for our Las Vegas station, which is just going to be in the most iconic area of Las Vegas. It'll be just south of the Strip on Las Vegas Boulevard, providing all of you former LA Raider fans access to Allegiant Stadium immediately. So next slide. And, with all of these systems, it's more than just building a transit system. The benefits are incredible, both the economic benefits and the environmental benefits. Just a few about each. On the economic side, you just have a hard time finding projects of this size and scope. This is a $10 billion project. It's going to provide way more in economic impact. We'll create 40,000 construction jobs that not only are part of our system, but a part of all other aspects of the investment that we make. We'll have more than 1,000 permanent jobs. Like I said earlier, we'll remove 3 million cars from our roadways. But just on the environmental side, I think it's really powerful. Not only are we removing over 400,000 tons of carbon emissions every year, we'll remove just about 700 vehicle miles traveled every single year. And it's going to provide more access to jobs. It's going to provide more access to economic opportunity. We'll also maintain and improve hundreds of wildlife crossings through the desert to make sure that we're protecting vital species that exist out there. I'm happy to take more questions on those, but I want to keep cruising. Final one. So here's the question everybody wonders, like, okay, we've heard about this for a long time. When can I take a seat on this train? Sooner than you think and before the 2028 Olympics. That's the best answer I have for you. We've done a number of things to put ourselves in a position to break ground in 2023. We are waiting for the FRA approvals on permitting, which we expect to get in March. And we think that we're in prime position to break ground on this project in 2023. It's about 3.5 years of construction, which is very similar to the system that we built in Florida, which, by the way, we've already proved that we can do this, and we're going to do it again. LA hosts the Summer Olympics in 2028. We will be there, and you will be able to ride this train to and from events. And if you want to come from Las Vegas to LA, you'll be able to. With that, I'm going back to you, Danny.
All right, Ben, you had me at Las Vegas, just so you know. That's great, man. I want to know much more about that. It's great stuff. Thank you, Ben. Next up, we've got ourselves Shant Nahapetian. Shant is a senior policy advisor at Southern California Edison, where he manages external engagement to advance the company's transportation electrification policy and operational priorities. Now, in that role, he helps local governments, business, and community stakeholders take actions to hasten the transition to zero-emission vehicles and supports the execution of customer programs like Charge Ready. Now, this is the largest light-duty electric vehicle charging infrastructure program of its kind in the country. That's impressive. Shant, welcome.
Thank you, Danny, for the introduction, and thank you to the American Lung Association for hosting today's town hall. It's great to be with you today and with all these great speakers. Let me begin by just saying, explaining a little bit about Southern California Edison. We are an investor-owned utility that serves 15 million residents within a 50,000 square mile service area of Central, Coastal, and Southern California. And we are committed to enabling the state's efforts to really achieve a clean energy future. We envision a world where homes, businesses, as well as cars, trucks, and mass transit are all powered by carbon-free electricity. And really, we envision a future in which all of our communities, regardless of ethnicity, background, or income level, breathe clean air. A future filled with tremendous opportunity for California's economy in the form of clean transportation and clean energy jobs, and a future that provides affordable energy for all Californians. Now, to make that future a reality, we must act with unprecedented urgency and commitment. And for our part, Southern California Edison is leading the transformation of the electric power industry, focusing on clean energy, the grid of the future, and customer choice. Now, while you all know that significant progress has been made already, Californians still breathe some of the worst air quality in the country. And we know that this air pollution takes a dangerous toll on our lives and contributes to serious health issues. And the transportation sector accounts for almost half of the greenhouse gas emissions in California and something like 80% of the nitrogen oxides that form smog. And as has been discussed and mentioned already, this problem is especially acute in communities that are situated near heavily used transportation corridors like the 710 corridor in Southern California and in the Inland Empire area. So, and I'm sorry, you can go back a slide or two. We know that cars are more fuel efficient these days, and there are certainly more hybrids and electric cars on the roads today, but the vast majority of vehicles still run on gasoline and diesel. So if we don't have mass market adoption of zero emission vehicles like electric vehicles, we simply won't be able to improve local air quality and try to help prevent the even more devastating effects of the climate crisis. So at Southern California Edison, we're trying to enable our customers' transition to electric vehicles through a multifaceted approach focused on affordability, awareness, and the availability of charging infrastructure. To that effort, we're investing more than $800 million to build out electric vehicle charging infrastructure for cars, trucks, buses, and other equipment, as well as offering rewards and rebates to help more of our customers make that transition. And in my brief remarks today, I'll touch on some of those efforts through our suite of Charge Ready programs. And And I think where we are now, this slide is actually very perfect because it really highlights the value proposition of our programs. And let me explain how kind of the programs work at a fundamental level. And I'll mention two in particular that I think would be of most interest to this audience. Now, through our Charge Ready program, Edison installs and maintains the supporting electric vehicle charging infrastructure. We call that the Make Ready infrastructure, while our customers typically own, operate, and maintain the charging stations themselves, though we provide customers a rebate to reduce the cost of charging stations. And normally we're just responsible for the left side here, the utility side of the meter infrastructure, if you will. But through our Charge Ready programs, we can take care of almost everything you see depicted in this image. This applies to upgrades like higher voltage electric panels, conduit, wiring, all to facilitate the installation of EV chargers for our customers at their project sites. We also provide technical assistance for siting charging equipment, access to our experts, and really other resources to help customers bring their charging projects to fruition. Next slide, please. I'll just, this slide kind of depicts some of our offerings, but I'll just call out two in particular. Our latest Charge Ready program for light duty or passenger vehicles launched in 2021 with the goal of supporting the installation of over 30,000 charging ports across Southern California over 5 years. And as Danny mentioned, this is the program that is the largest light duty electric vehicle charging infrastructure program of its kind in the country. The program has an extraordinary focus on equity by locating half of those 30,000 charging ports in communities that are most heavily impacted by the combined effects of economic, environmental, and public health burdens. And those are also known as state designated disadvantaged communities. And another key aspect of this program is addressing the unique challenges customers who might live in multifamily properties like apartments and condo complexes face. And the program has a goal of siting 30% of those 30,000 chargers at multifamily properties to help, again, expand the promise of electric vehicles to more people. Now, while the focus on passenger vehicles is important, we know that medium and heavy duty vehicles are the largest mobile sources of air pollution. So transitioning those types of vehicles to zero emission vehicles will lead to greater gains in air pollution reduction. So our Charge Ready transport program was designed with that very thought in mind, as we know that goods and people movement play such an important role in our economy and society. So continuing with that Make Ready model, our Charge Ready transport program provides customers the opportunity to install the infrastructure to support a fleet of medium and heavy duty electric vehicles at low or no cost. And the program's goal is to support over 8,000 medium and heavy duty electric vehicles, including transit buses and other industrial vehicles as well. And I should note that in addition to supporting our customers' transition to cleaner fleets, we're doing that ourselves. We're electrifying 100% of our light duty passenger vehicles, and we've committed to electrifying 30% of our medium and heavy duty trucks and 60%, I believe, of our forklifts by 2030. And in fact, we just acquired 15 all electric Ford F-150 Lightning trucks, and we're going to be ordering hundreds more over the next decade. And those will play an outsized role, and those are the trucks that we use, to service our equipment and our customers in our communities. Next slide, please. Thank you. As I said on the onset, we're keenly focused on reducing barriers to EV adoption through a multifaceted approach. And of course, that includes providing rebates and rates designed to make EVs and charging equipment more affordable for everyone. I'll just call out two in particular. We offer a $4,000 rebate for pre-owned EVs to customers who either live in a state-designated income-qualified household or are enrolled in certain government income assistance programs. But for those customers who might not be income qualified, we also provide a $1,000 rebate for the purchase or lease of a pre-owned EV. And we believe all of these efforts taken together will help reduce emissions and improve local air quality and hopefully contribute to better health outcomes in the communities we serve. But clearly, we have much to do, and we're eager to work with you to build on the solutions needed to reduce emissions and help improve quality of life across Southern California. So I'll just conclude by saying, please consider us at Southern California Edison as your partners, because we have common goals and there's much work to do together. So thank you, Danny.
Right, great stuff, Sean. Yeah, and that is the key, right? We have the utilities that are right there in step with everybody else trying to make that transition. So we appreciate that very, very much, Sean. Thank you. All right, next up, last but not least, we have Patricia Kwon. Let me tell you about Patricia. Patricia is a program supervisor in the technology demonstration group of South Coast AQMD. Now, she has 20 years of experience with South Coast AQMD and has worked in the Technology Advancement Office for 15 of those years. Patricia has strong expertise with heavy-duty battery electric vehicles, equipment, and infrastructure. Currently, she oversees the agency's largest battery electric truck deployment projects and regularly works with OEMs, state and federal agencies, universities, and other stakeholders. She has an MA in sociology from the University of California, Los Angeles, go Bruins, specializing in environmental policy and statistics, and also has a BA in biology from Johns Hopkins University. Impressive. Patricia, welcome.
Thank you, Danny. You should do all our intros.
I appreciate you being here.
So good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us. This is really such a wonderful opportunity to connect with people. And so I'm here to talk about zero emission technologies. I'm in the technology demonstration group, so we get to play with all those nice new shiny toys and learn as we go through. So the next slide, please. In our South Coast Air Basin, we have 17 million people. That's all of Orange County and what we call the urbanized portions of LA, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. So, in this South Coast Air Basin, you have about 2/3 of California's EJ population is here in South Coast, and we've got 1/3 of all the US containerized cargo. And I just bring that up because that means that, unfortunately, we do historically suffer from some of the worst air quality in the nation. And we do have, unfortunately, the worst levels of ozone and PM 2.5. I like to think that that's an opportunity for us to do more. So we have the opportunity and the privilege of really trying out a lot of different types of technologies. So let's go on to the next slide here. So this is just going to be kind of a little primer on who does what. So we've got EPA on the national level. They regulate all the interstate sources like the trucks, the trains, the planes, the locomotives. We have the California Air Resources Board that does cars and does certain trucks, and then fuels and consumer products, because there's trucks that go across state borders and then trucks that just stay in California. And then South Coast, we do stationary sources. Now at the local air district level, South Coast AQMD does prepare a clean air plan, and we just passed our 2022 air quality management plan this past December, which is our blueprint, but what we're going to do to meet our standards and improve air quality. And then that goes on to the state level. California Air Resources Board reviews that and approves that. And then they send it up to the feds, to EPA, which oversees all the state's clean air plans. So that's kind of just sort of, different levels of authority. Next slide, please. So in terms of our challenges, this is just kind of a reminder. You can see LA in 1950 and LA in 2018. We've clearly improved. This is great. We have more work to do, but we have made some good progress. You can see that our this ozone design value chart just shows that our ozone has dropped over the years, but that what you'd see at the bottom is that our standards our air quality standards are continuing to get more stringent, so that we always kind of move those goalposts a little further to try to achieve more, to continue to clean the air in our region. So next slide, please. So this tells you what do we need to do to get those air the cleaner air. So we have air quality standards, national ambient air quality standards in ozone and in PM 2.5. In order to achieve those standards, we have to get NOx reductions, and a lot of NOx reductions. So that 83% is 83% reductions from 2018 levels. And it's on all sorts of categories. I know you see a lot of fine print over there, but that's basically, you're talking about all these on-road, off-road sources, heavy duty diesel trucks. You're talking about off-road cargo handling equipment, construction equipment, also ocean-going vessels, harbor craft. There's quite a lot in that to get to that 83% that we need to attain. So that is pegged to a 2015 8-hour ozone standard that we need to achieve by 2037. So we've definitely got our work cut out for us. And basically NOx is formed anytime you have any combustion of fuels. So, on our 2022 AQMD, our mandate was that we go zero emission wherever it's cost effective, wherever it's feasible, and near zero low NOx technologies and other applications. So that's kind of our mantra. That's our game plan as to how we're going to achieve these ambient air quality standards. Next slide. So this highlights some other work that our agency does, which is the MATES. It's the Multiple Air Toxics Exposure Study, and it measures air toxics cancer risk. We do this every few years, and so you can see between MATES 4 and MATES 5, this is kind of a snapshot of where the cancer risk was in 2012 versus 2018. You can see that for the South Coast Air Basin, that we've gone down about 54%. So from 997 in a million to 455 in a million, and similar drops in the Coachella Valley from 357 to 250 in a million. So diesel PM continues to remain a huge driver of cancer risk. It contributes to about 67% of the overall cancer risk. It's also population weighted. We have a lot of great modeling folks and people who work very hard on MATES to really continue to refine these estimates. The cancer risk, fortunately, has declined pretty much all across our South Coast Air Basin, with the highest risk in the Inland Valley in San Bernardino. But then you can see that kind of dark purple, on the bottom of the map, the port communities. That's also a huge, kind of unfortunate, source of cancer risk. So that kind of gives us an idea of where we need to continue to improve, not only on air quality, but on cancer risk. Next slide, please. So something that we do in our tech demo group, which we're very excited about, is that we have really pushed and leaned into zero emission technology. So for our next year, this 2023 Clean Fuels Plan update, we're going to be really continuing to focus on large deployments of battery electric and fuel cell trucks, buses, off-road equipment, infrastructure to support all of these, high power charging for battery electric trucks, fuel cell trucks and equipment, and green hydrogen production. Battery electric trucks are now commercially available. Just like battery electric, EVs are. Fuel cell trucks and equipment, we're still kind of in that demo stage, kind of still just doing a few at a time. They're not commercially certified, but we are getting there. I think in the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to see a lot more choices on the zero emission front. So it's very, very exciting. Next slide. So I wanted to be cognizant of everyone's time, especially since I'm the last one. So I just wanted to wrap up by saying that, besides tech demo, we also have a technology implementation group, and there they administer all of our incentive programs. You probably aren't necessarily familiar with some of these unless you're a fleet, but we have the Car Moya program, we have Prop 1B, the lower emission school bus program, and Replace Your Ride. So these are all programs that focus on different, categories of vehicles and equipment and supporting infrastructure. And really, as soon as you have a vehicle or a piece of equipment that is commercially available, then they can get incentivized through these programs. So a lot of our technologies that we demonstrate and get to commercialization on the tech demo side, then go on the implementation side and get incentivized. So you can see that a number of these programs have existed for quite some time. Moya has existed since 1998. And there's hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's resulted in thousands of vehicles and engines that have been turned over. and the emission reductions that go with it. So this is yet another part of our agency effort that we're very excited about. Prop 1B focuses more on trucks and cargo handling equipment and goods movement areas. The lower emission school bus program, this is geared towards school districts, getting them into either battery electric, even fuel cell buses, or ultra low NOx buses, but just getting them away from diesel school buses. And then Replace Your Ride. Some of you may have taken advantage of this. This is for light duty vehicles, and it's for kind of low income residents in EJ communities, giving them the opportunity to have some of these latest in zero emission technologies. They also do plug-in hybrids as well. So it kind of helps to buy down the cost of the EV and the charging to go with it. So you can see that there's been over 8,300 vehicles that have been incentivized through that program. So that just kind of gives you a really quick kind of overview of what we do here at South Coast AQMD. I'm very excited to share all this with you today. Thank you.
All right, that's great stuff, Patricia. Yeah, and it's there in the name, air quality management. Thank you for being there with us. Listen, we've got a few questions for our panel here that have come in from various people viewing here. By the way, thank you for watching today. So let's start here with Shant. Shant, as we move into an increasingly electrified transportation future, here's a big question. Will the electric grid be ready to handle all that increased demand?
Yeah, thank you, Danny. That's a great question and one we get often. So let me just say that yes, emphatically, the grid is ready to support electric transportation today, and we are planning now to anticipate the needs in the years ahead. Based on our analysis and with the necessary investments, we project that the electric grid and energy supply will be able to keep up with the additional demand as we electrify more parts of the economy. And we're investing about $5 billion annually to upgrade the grid so that our customers can continue to rely on it to support a clean energy future. And while there's much work ahead of us, the good news is that we have long-term planning in place already, 5 and 10-year plans to make sure we're making the smart investments now so that the grid will be able to support a clean energy future.
Yeah, so that is so important because having the solution, but then you need that infrastructure as you mentioned there. So it's great to hear that is in the plans and such a long-term plan as well. Let's get to Chief Fields. Chief Fields, again, love seeing the gear you're showing us. That is some impressive looking machinery. But here's the question: when do you expect the entire fleet of fire trucks in LA to be electric?
That's a really good question. That's really difficult to say just because of so many factors that would go into that happening. But I will say that if it's possible, particularly in the fire service, LA is going to be the leader in that. We spend it, and from the uniform that I'm wearing right now to our self-contained breathing apparatus, our helmets, anything that we wear, given that the nature of our job is so critical to public safety, we go through an extensive testing process to make sure that what we are using to protect the public is going to work and work all the time. And so given that this is new technology, particularly in public safety, we're going to test it as strenuously. But we are committed to moving with technology. As was mentioned by one of the panelists, that trying to convert their vehicles, such as their pickup trucks and things like that. The first step toward electrifying our entire fleet is focused on our non-emergency fleet. So our staff vehicles, support vehicles, things like that, things that don't have lights and sirens. We're looking at converting all of that fleet to electric. And then as technology grows and we have the opportunity to test it in our rigorous environments, we expect to continue to move strategically with that environment. We're going to continue to test the RTX, for another year or more to make sure it actually meets all of our necessities. And when the opportunity arises, we're going to jump on that opportunity to continue to expand to our heavy apparatus.
Well, it's an exciting future seeing electric fire trucks out there. It's a great vision to have there. Thank you, Chief. Patricia, here's a question for you. Now, what can I do, like, and anybody watching, as an individual, to promote an electrified future, outside of purchasing a new car? I mean, I'm going to eventually get rid of my old Yugo and get like something new. So what, besides buying a new car, what else can people do?
I think in addition, you could think about your home. There's probably appliances that you could electrify. Also just being cognizant that, when air quality isn't as good, that perhaps you should not be burning wood in your fireplace, or maybe converting that fireplace, and we do have kind of air quality alerts, to encourage residents to not burn on certain days, no burn days. The other thing is that just even things as simple as when you order things from Amazon or whatnot, why don't you just notice that some of those deliveries, those last mile deliveries, are starting to take place in zero emission delivery trucks. So you're going to start seeing more and more of this fleet around you, and electrifying and becoming zero emission. So I think it's basically supporting these technologies, asking for these technologies, encouraging businesses that use these technologies, and just trying to do your part.
Yeah, and yeah, there's the key there. Each person kind of doing their part. Here's something for Ben. Ben, now, for a long time, we've been hearing about high-speed rail all over Southern California, the country. But what makes this project with you guys at Brightline, what makes that different?
Well, listen, I'll tell you a few things. One, these projects are really hard to build, right? They're very costly. They take a lot of time. But the exciting part about Brightline West is I'd give you four main reasons. First, one of the things that's the most difficult part of any railroad project is what they call right of way, which is you got to have a path that is free and clear in order to build a brand new railroad. So we've secured that. We've negotiated agreements with the state of Nevada and the state of California to build right down the middle of the I-15. And we have a 90 plus year lease on a project like this. The second thing is permits, right? Like you got to get it environmentally approved. This project in November of last year, so just a couple months ago, received our draft permits by the Federal Railroad Administration, and went out to the public and said, do you have any comments on this? And we didn't have one negative comment on this project, which is incredible for a project of this size. So we anticipate getting our final permits in March, which means you can put a shovel in the ground. And then the third thing is financing. We're at a once in a generational moment where the Biden administration has elected to invest in high-speed rail. We're going to be a part of that. We're going to apply for a portion of this project to be funded by a grant out of the federal government. But in Florida, we've invested over $5 billion all in private money, and we anticipate making Brightline West the majority privately funded. So that's how you're going to get this done. And I think the fourth thing, and I'll just end it here, is you also have to have an experienced team. There's not a lot of people who have done this in this country. In fact, there's nobody really, except for the Brightline team. We did it in Florida, which gives us the ability with the same engineers, the same partners, the same team to do it again. So for those reasons, it will get done, and we'll put a shovel in the ground here in 2023.
That's exciting news to have for sure. I'll tell you what, real quick, and just kind of touch on the point here. Just let everybody know this is brought to you by the American Lung Association, which for more than 115 years been dedicated to saving lives by ending lung disease and promoting lung health. More than 20 million people each year are helped by Lung Association programs and initiatives. And we support all Americans through education, advocacy, and research. They address health disparities, offer reliable resources to all communities, especially underrepresented communities. Nearly 37 million Americans live with a chronic lung disease like asthma and COPD, which includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. Now, through education and support programs, the American Lung Association is continuing working to reduce the burden of living with a lung disease. With asthma, 25 million Americans, including over 6 million children. Asthma Basics and produce a comprehensive and clear overview of asthma and a full suite of tools and resources. 15 million plus Americans being diagnosed with COPD. That's an obstructive lung disease that over time makes it harder to breathe. So the Better Breathers Club, one of the programs there, is a support group for patients and their caregivers to learn more about the free tools restored American Lung Association. So they are always certainly there for people that need that help around. And certainly want to thank all of you panelists. You guys have been fabulous today, giving us all kinds of info. We truly appreciate that. Chief Richard Fields, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. Ben Porritt, thank you so much. Patricia, Kwon, Shant Nahapetian, you guys have been absolutely fabulous taking care of us with some great questions. So real quickly though, for each of you, real quick answer. Are there some student jobs around for kids who want to get involved with your programs? Sean, go first.
Yeah, I'm happy to say I would encourage this person to, if they're interested in working at a utility and helping us kind of build a clean energy future, there are, we have internship opportunities, and there are countless jobs in various fields that one might be interested in. So I'd encourage them to take a look at our careers website. I think it's careers at edisoncareers.com, or if they're not in California, their local utility as well.
All right, quickly, Ben.
Email outreach@brightlinewest.com. Reach out to us there.
And Patricia, I got a place there?
Yes, you can email me at pkwon as in Nancy at aqmd.gov, and happy to answer any questions.
And Chief Fields.
I would say in general, look at joinlafd.org. You know, you probably wouldn't look at the fire service as you know, a profession to get into, to then get into this technology, but neither did I growing up in South LA, you know. So here it is, a great profession to be in, and it can take you all kinds of places in the world. So joinlafd.org.
There you go. Thank you so much to all our panel, and thank you for joining us. And special thanks to our panelists. Thank you so much for being here. Community Connections, though, is a free resource made available via fundraising events like our Fight for Air climb coming up very soon at the LA Memorial Coliseum on February 26th. We're excited that some of our panelists and their companies are great supporters of this event. And of course, ABC7, a proud sponsor, having a big team once again. We'll be out there. So if you'd like to climb with us, we put a link in our chat here. If you have any additional questions, you can email that to greaterla@lung.org. We thank you for being here today. Have a great afternoon.